So here we sit this morning. It is, I mean, there's so many things. Last year we had the bubble, and it was the year of the young teams doing better than expected. And this year it's the healthy teams that are doing better than expected. The Phoenix Suns are the really healthy team. So let's just start with Brooklyn, Milwaukee. Listen, Brooklyn's playing 5.5 guys. James Harden right now is about 50, 60%. That's what they're playing. Brooklyn's playing with 5.5 guys. They looked exhausted by the end of the game. I know fans always want me to give their team credit. Listen, the Raptors won a title because Golden State stars were all hurt. You weren't the best team. I can't give you credit. Visa's in the credit business. I'm not. Milwaukee's shooting 28% from three-point land. 68% from the free throw line. If Kyrie was healthy, if Harden's 90%, series is over. It'll be over this weekend. Brooklyn's going to win it. But when Kyrie was healthy, and again, that's with two other stars, you know what I mean? Kyrie was averaging 23, 24 a game, 5. He'd be the difference. Harden would be the difference. You don't even need both of them to beat Milwaukee. If you just gave me Harden at 100% and KD, you'd win the series. If you give me the first two games, I basically got KD and Kyrie healthy. They blew Milwaukee out. The games weren't even competitive. So, and it's funny because there's this sense, the stars always get the calls. The truth is about the NBA, and they did a study on this years ago. It's far worse in college than the NBA, but home teams get the calls because of the proximity of fans to the game. They're right on the floor. Referees hear that, and they are influenced more than an NFL official 20 yards from the crowd, a hockey official, there's glass, baseball, you're miles away. But in basketball, officials, because fans are right on the floor, they're screaming, foul, come on, foul. We're human beings, you're influenced. Now, college basketball, according to the study I read, way worse than the NBA. NBA refs are just better, less influenced. But the home teams get the calls. And think about this. Where does the average NBA series start and finish? At home for the better team. The better team had the better record. They get the first two at home. They take a lead. And there's middle games for the road team. And then the better team gets the last game at home. So when you're watching the first two games of a series, your first thing you see is, the stars are getting the calls. And then if it goes to a deciding seventh game, you're seeing, the stars got the calls. No, the home team got the calls. If you watch this series, Milwaukee is allowed to play hyper physical at home. The refs are letting them grab and pull. How can you tell? Look at the stats. The Nets are shooting almost 50% at home and 41% on the road. What, Kevin Durant forgets to shoot on the road? The three-point line, it's even worse. 42% for the Nets at home, 28% on the road. So the officials are actually, in this series, the influence of the officials has been very much pro-Milwaukee. They're letting the more physical team grab and clutch at home. This was for years the secret sauce of the Utah Jazz with Stockton and Malone and Jerry Sloan. They were always the best home team in the NBA, but they were strangely average on the road for being a great team. Why? Because they played so physical. And the only team that could beat them was Chicago, who had a relentless Rodman, Jordan, Pippen, Ron Harper, Rodman. They were even more physical. But Milwaukee right now, with Drew Holiday and P.J. Tucker and Brook Lopez and Forbes, they're a more physical team now. They were finessed 2-3 years ago. They're physical, and it's giving them a huge break at home. So fans think the stars get the call. The home team gets the call. Look at Milwaukee at home. They're a totally different team. And, nothing against Giannis and Middleton. But the Nets are not only tired offensively, they're tired defensively. When Middleton and Giannis combine to shoot 64%, I like them. Ain't that good. That's better than Michael and Jordan. They're not that good. So I look at Brooklyn as a shot fighter, a tired team. They got to go home, sleep in their own bed, get up for Game 7. Harden will be better in Game 7. He was better last night than he was in Game 5. He'll be better in Game 7, probably 75, 80%. After the game, even the coach for the Nets, Steve Nash, sounded tired. They just didn't have their best stuff. It's hard when people are tackling you. All right, so I talked to Mark Cuban last night briefly. Mark Cuban has gotten rid of his general manager, and he moved on, and his coach, Rick Carlisle. I'm not going to tell you everything, but I will say this. The one thing Mark did share with me with Luka's 22 years old. He became a global sensation in the last 6 months. It's hard. It's hard for 32 years old, 42-year-olds, 52-year-olds. He's 22. He's emotional. He and Rick Carlisle sometimes argued. Oh, boy, end of the world. He had a lot of technicals this year. Mark told me yesterday, hey, we're just working through it. Great kid. Fantastic kid. He's 22 years old, became a global star. Give him a break. So here's what's really happening. And Mark Cuban didn't tell me this, but this is my belief on what's happening in Dallas. So we all know in life that if something happens to us earlier and we kind of screw it up, and then we have the second opportunity to do something, our first experience will influence our second experience. So they drafted an international star, Dirk Nowitzki, and wasted a lot of time with him. They drafted him in 98, and they didn't get a title till 2011, and they were rarely special. Then they draft Luka, who plays a lot like Dirk. You can't stop him, except he's better than Dirk, and he's 22, and he's international, and they ain't going to screw this thing up. There is a sense of urgency in Dallas. We got our second Dirk Nowitzki, and he's better sooner. And it's ramped everything up. And they've had him for 3 years, and they've only made the playoffs twice, and they got bounced early in both of them. I get it. You had Dirk, and don't get me wrong, Dirk had a great career, and you should be very proud of the championship. It was a crazy team. But you drafted him in 98, and you didn't win a title until 2011, and you were rarely special. And I talked to Mark about this months ago, and he said, hey, we made some mistakes. And then it's almost like you photocopied him, and you got Luka again. And Dallas like, okay. We got the better version of him. Even Dirk came out last week and said, no, Luka's better than I was. And it's like, okay, it's natural now. They're not going to waste any time. Because there was a sense with Dirk, and this is my opinion, they kind of wasted some time. So, Donnie Nelson, let's talk about him. The race for Luka is to get a number 2. Porzingis ain't it. Hardaway's not it. Good players, not it. Donnie Nelson, the year before Luka, had the number 9 pick in the draft. He drafted a bust, Dennis Smith. You know who got drafted after that? Donovan Mitchell. If Donovan Mitchell was drafted with Luka, this team's in the finals multiple times. Can't make those mistakes. It's not like you went Donovan Mitchell to a borderline all-star. Bust. 4 picks later, Donovan Mitchell. Time to go. You also wildly overpaid for Porzingis. Time for the GM to go. Rick Carlisle, good guy. 3 years, 2 playoffs. You're 61. He's 22. Generationally, it's probably not perfect. I mean, Stan Van Gundy, Zion. Generationally, probably not perfect. It's amazing Joy and I get along. I'm like the Stan Van Gundy of hosts. But the reality is, this is the natural progression when you had Dirk and draft Luka. They're not going to mess around here in Dallas. I've been saying this for 2 weeks. It is now a race to get Luka a 2. If I'm Luka, I do sign an extension. But Mark's got pressure on him now. The GM whiffed on Dennis Smith and overpaid for Porzingis. That's going to trap you now if you sign Luka to a massive contract if you can't unload that. Then the NBA has got to match salaries, so good luck getting rid of that massive contract for a big that gets hurt and super expensive. And by the way, Luka doesn't get along with him. They don't get along very well. So we can all freak out, but when you get a superstar this young, and by the way, when Luka has been in the playoffs so far, the 2 times, he's averaged 34, 10, and 9. Dallas is not keeping up with Luka. Luka is carrying them. I mean, he has to be on the floor. You watch the Dallas Mavericks against the Clippers. He's off the floor. They're not even the same. They're not even a playoff team. I mean, so they have to draft somebody that can give Luka 5.5, 6 minutes, a half off, let him play off the ball a little. You can't ask this kid to play 47 minutes without a 2. You see how exhausted Durant, and Durant's the best scorer in the world with 10 years of experience on Luka. And you can see him last night. I mean, he's still great, but he's not quite the same, just in back-to-back games. So, this is one of these classic, oh my God, what's going on? Mark Cuban, what's going on? I talked to Mark. He's like, listen, we got a 22-year-old superstar. He's a global superstar. He's a great kid. We're just working our way through this stuff. And it's just, you land these stars. You got to get stuff right, and you got to get stuff right fast. And I've said this, the draft now is a total crapshoot. Increasingly, you get 1 year of tape from college or no years of tape. A kid goes to G League like Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs, the 2 top picks next year. Suggs, you get 1 year of Gonzaga film, and Green, you get 1 year of G League film. That's what, I mean, you're guessing, you're projecting on some of these kids. I mean, they're both going to be good. Suggs and Green are both going to be good, but how good? How much do you know? It's not the NFL where I got 3 and 4 years of tape. So they got to get on this stuff. A 61-year-old coach, Rick Carlisle, emotional guy. Luka and he had some tension. Boom, it's time to go. Rick's had a great career. He's fine. He'll get a job somewhere. But it's time. Blow it up. Let's go. GM overpaid for Porzingis. Butcher the Dennis Smith pick. Boom, it's time to go. Fresh start. Let's get a little younger around Luka. Let's get whoever you got to get. Let's get a little younger. Let's get some new eyeballs, a new voice, new sound, new look, new vibe. It's okay. It happens. This is the NBA. But there's a lot of stuff now. Oh, there's chaos. The media is a little hyperbolic sometimes, right? A little bit. I don't know. You made the playoffs. You took the Clippers 7. It's not the end of the world. It's just time to get a new GM and a new coach. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.